Welcome back to another episode of the Plant.Body.Soul podcast. And I'm grateful to be sitting here with my co-host, Gordon.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
And also very excited to sit down with Aiesha Beasley. She is most known for her Arizona Places creation on Instagram. And I would say she's been a friend of PBS for a little while now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Really cool to see you just grow and blossom. It's so cool. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's dive right in. I'd love to hear more about you, a little bit about yourself, and then what inspired you to do what you do, whether that's be a content creator, and even more so specifically Arizona Places. What inspired that?
Yeah. Hey guys, so thank you for having me on the podcast. So I'm a full-time content creator. Like mentioned, I am sorry.
No, you're totally good.
As mentioned, a lot of people know me locally for Arizona Places and just all my adventures around Arizona. So it's just been so fun kind of taking this to the next level, doing it as a job. And yeah, I'm loving it so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember when we were first introduced, you were stepping away from your work at H&M. You were there for quite a long time in retail merchandising, correct?
Yeah. So I was there for 11 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So 11 years, pretty much almost all of my adult life. So yeah, I started there when I was I think about 20 years old. And then I just kind of worked up within the company while I was still going to school. So I was actually going to school to be, I wanted to be a buyer. So I was getting into retail and consumer science at the U of A in Tucson. And I actually kind of left school early to grow within H&M because at the time, they were expanding rapidly in the U.S. They just kind of kickstarted their U.S. expansion. So they were opening up stores left and right. So I had a lot of opportunity early on to travel a lot in the Southwest. I was in Denver. I was in New Mexico, helping them open up stores, got promoted to a visual merchandiser and just kind of did a lot of the store setups and stuff.
That seems like a cool job.
It was fun.
Yeah, it does. Is that where I would consider you a very fashionable woman. And is that where you stoked your love of fashion, is being in the fashion industry?
Absolutely, because I really had a vision to move to New York, be a buyer, go to runway shows. I wanted to do all the things. And I've always had this love for creating. I even had a Tumblr blog back in, 2009, 2010, while I was in college.
Wait, you might have to explain what Tumblr is for some newer listeners who don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah. Because I don't feel like a lot of people who are Gen Z really know about Tumblr.
No.
So I think it's still around. I think you can still post on there from what I understand. I'm not too sure. But it basically is this website where you can kind of create a blog. So it kind of was much easier interface versus WordPress or some of the other ones. And you can personalize it kind of like MySpace a little bit. So you could really personalize the template and have a lot of fun with it. And so that was my first deep dive into content creation. So with that, I grew a pretty micro following back then in the late 2010s, early 2010s. I basically grew to 20,000 followers on Tumblr.
Dang.
Which back then, 2010, 2011, that was a lot of followers.
Yep.
A lot. And it was just me posting fashion inspo. I was kind of diving into posting myself and, lifestyle shots and creating using a camera. And I would spend hours on it. And that was kind of the first spark into creation. And I loved it. I was like, ooh, this is fun. Because I was really inspired by a lot of the early bloggers back then, because they were the really the leaders to like influencers, but they weren't really influencers. They just had blogs. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They're going to New York Fashion Week. They're doing all these things. And I was really inspired by that back then.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
The when you said the spark, it's like there's a quote in yoga that I know we both love, but it's something like yoga is like the spark, and like once it's lit, you can never extinguish it. And so it sounds like this was like that spark of sharing your story and creative inspiration was lit through Tumblr.
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
That's awesome. So how did Arizona Places actually start? What was the...
So yeah, going to Arizona Places, I kind of stopped creating content for Tumblr. I was just focusing on just work and all the things. And then in 2017, I had a friend who was like, hey, you should kind of get back into, blogging, stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know if I want to blog. I don't know if I want to do all of that. Seems like a lot of work. But I was like, you know what? I'll create an Instagram account. I had a personal Instagram back then, but I was like, I'll create a new one just to post fashion content. So that was it was almost kind of like what I was going for back then, the niche, because back in the late 2010s, like 2017, 2018, we kind of saw this emergence of the Instagram influencer. You see hashtag relationship goals, travel goals, all these accounts that were popping up back then. And I was like, okay, I'll just kind of create content a little bit here and there and kind of share my experience living in Tucson. So I would go to these cute little places in Tucson, take pics, because that's where I was living at the time. And there wasn't really an intention behind Arizona Places besides I was just wanting to go around and just create content. But when I moved out here, I transferred from my job in 2019, right before COVID hit. I transferred and I started kind of connecting with some local creators out here. And, I'd get invited to some food events and I would take my little cute Instagram photos and I would find cool spots out here that I personally liked. And it kind of transitioned into posting on TikTok. And so some of the videos that I had at like cute coffee shops, I just posted it on TikTok. I was like, I'm just going to post this, whatever, in my cute little outfit, just like da-da-da-da-da. And some of those videos ended up going viral.
Wow.
And I had really no intention of being like a foodie creator or anything like that. I was just posting what I loved and
about
enjoyed
Arizona.
and about Arizona. So that's kind of what started Arizona Places, because I remember actually the first video was clips when I would go back and visit my family in Tucson. I went to this restaurant called Little Anthony's and I was outside the diner in a cute outfit, went mega viral on TikTok. And I remember seeing my DMs on Instagram days later. There was restaurants being like, hey, we saw your video on TikTok. Can you do what you did there at our restaurant? And at the time, we were in the height of COVID and I was just like, okay, I don't really do food or anything. So I would go into some of these restaurants and I would just kind of film my own POV. And I was also at the time still exploring and learning Phoenix. So I was finding places that I enjoyed and I would just go film and just post it. And that's kind of how it started. And then I just kind of came up with the tagline Arizona Places and it just took off. So a lot of people know me for that tagline, like welcome to Arizona Places. And it just like took off from there. It's just kind of crazy because I just never, that really wasn't the goal. I was just kind of working, doing my job and just having fun with content creation. I didn't really think it would become more than that at the time, at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Sounds like, yeah, you're just following the energy and look at where it's, taken you. That's really amazing. Cool.
I'd love to hear, a little bit about your creative process when selecting and showcasing on Arizona Places? What does that look like?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's different now than it was.
Oh, absolutely. I think now I am, way more selective on, restaurants I showcase and, brands I stand behind, because I think as you grow an audience, people trust you. They're there, they're following you for a reason. And I always want to make sure things I share, showcase on my page is stuff I'm aligned with and
Good.
that I truly love and, support. Just like in the very beginning days when I was discovering things that I thought were cool and fun, I want to continue to keep that same energy, because at the end of the day, you've built that following, but that following can be taken away from you in an instant. If people think that they can't trust you anymore, they can't trust your judgment, or, the places you go to and you're recommending this spot, but it's really the most terrible customer service ever. And, again, there are one-off situations where you can't control everybody's experience somewhere, because I can rant and rave about a place I absolutely love, but there could always be instances where maybe someone doesn't get that same experience depending on who's staffed that day. So for me, I always look at, I'm reading reviews on Google, I'm reading reviews on Yelp, I'm going on their Instagram, seeing like what has the restaurant posted already, like what kind of, stuff that what stuff are they promoting, like what's the vibe, what's the aesthetic. I'm seeing if other creators post about the place. I'm looking at all angles of it, and then when it comes to the actual filming day, making sure, what time of day I decide to, go in and film for lighting purposes, or if I'm bringing lights, and, if I'm going to wear an outfit that matches the vibe. So there's just like so many little steps to like the setup to it. But, I definitely think I am very selective now in choosing what I want to put on my page.
That's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of impact have you seen that your series has provided for these local businesses? I mean, significant, tangible impact.
Yeah. I get messages all the time from businesses, and, they're always thanking me, because they have seen an influx of people coming in and, trying their food or going to the event or, buying the experience. And, I think it's amazing to support local businesses and highlight, their place, because, I feel like we are in a time where, a lot of businesses are struggling, and any promotion or any type of highlight is really good for them, because there are businesses that maybe can't afford PR teams and all the things that are involved for it. So I think that being an influencer and having that influential pull locally is so important, and it's helped a lot of businesses out. And I'm very thankful that I've been able to share my love for certain places with my audience.
I believe that, and I know that we've actually worked with you for one of our events. It was a while ago. Yeah, I think it was one of our first Friday High Day After Darks. Yeah. And we also saw, some immediate tangible result, and we were super grateful for that and working with you. But I think it's awesome what you're doing, because a lot of times, like we own a marketing agency, and we're familiar with, sometimes it can be hard to put together a tangible ROI based on campaigns, especially in our industry where we're super regulated, with cannabis and the psychedelic market. And so, I think that when you can connect with somebody like yourself who's a joy to be around, is positive, and you can feel that positivity and authenticity coming through in the things that you post. And I'm sure the interaction is a wonderful part of that, but also to be able to bring, people in immediately, like once that goes live, and you know that it's as a result of the work that they're doing with you. So this like proof that the proof is in the pudding, I suppose, right? So yeah, I think it's very cool what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's empowering for people.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear. I would love to hear some of the challenges or rewards as a content creator that you've experienced over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I would definitely say some of the challenges are, and I think this comes with any person who's putting their life online, or you're putting yourself out there. I mean, there could be negativity,
Yeah.
I mean, you could just talk.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion.
And they want to make sure you know it, right?
I know. And it's just sometimes so funny because it will be the most random things. And you're like, really? You'll just read it. And I'm like,
why did you use that napkin?
That's crazy
something,
stuff.
Yeah, random.
Or like maybe not even related to anything that you're posting. But what about, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. I've seen people get political on some of my posts. I've seen people get racist on some of my posts. I've seen just like negativity on like, oh, what you're wearing, or, like how you look, or, oh, you could have said this better, or it's hard. And I think like you definitely have to develop thick skin being a creator and putting yourself out online, because it is hard to be a personality, because you have to go through those challenges and kind of just keep going, and not like worry about all the noise and all those comments. I mean, I'm thankful that I don't get a lot of negative comments, but there's those few here and there. You're like, really, you really had to say that? I mean, but I try not to clap back as much anymore, because I felt like in the beginning, I would try to clap back with some of the comments.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
I know. I've been better. I can't say I'm always perfect with that, but
Sure.
It's okay. Sometimes we bite the hook.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that's one of the challenges. I would say another challenge is, especially if you're making this a goal to be a career, or it is your full-time job or income, I think it's the pressure to continuously pump out content, staying relevant, staying on top of trends, because, I felt like, and I always say this, it's like I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. And that's just the reality, I feel like you always have to be constantly on, serve your audience, answer DMs, answer comments. Sometimes you feel like you can't take a few weeks off your platform because the algorithm, you know what I'm saying? Well, you have to like rev it back up a little bit. So I think there is that pressure to continuously create, especially if content creation is your sole source of income. I would say that just as any entrepreneur or business owner, I mean, there's months that are really, really good, and you're getting the brand deals, you're getting these opportunities, and there's slower months. So it's like you have to kind of prepare for those ups and those downs when it comes to money. Are you thinking about having multiple streams of income? I think that a lot of creators, they don't think about that. I mean, we see the 1% of the creators, we see the major YouTubers, and they're making the millions. But I would say for the rest of us 99%ers, it is ups and downs when it comes to money, and what opportunities you're getting, because it changes every year or sometimes every month. So you need to prepare for that. Like what other things are you doing on the side to supplement that? Or are you a creator that is on multiple platforms? Because I would say that would be definitely important to be on multiple platforms, so you have multiple streams of income off of those platforms as well. But I would say some of like the perks and being a creator is, you have opportunities to meet so many new people, work with so many amazing brands, have opportunities, to travel and, go on trips, for an example, next month I'm going to work with Visit Albuquerque. So having even opportunities like that, other states seeing like, we love what you're doing in Arizona. Like, we want you to make an impact here, you know, in our state. So that's an amazing opportunity to have a platform and being able to share that with my audience, to be like, yes, there's Arizona places, but there's also other fun things I can share with you guys as well. You know, and then obviously, you know, having the freedom to work for yourself, you know, I think is awesome as a creator, you know, and being able to create what you want to create and have fun with it. So yeah, I would say that would be my answer.
Yeah,
It's a very good answer. It's very thorough. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
No, that's great.
And I've thought about that, and you in particular, you know, what that must be like to be on, you know, social media all the time, and staying relevant. And I also have to say, because we have like DM'd, or I'll drop a comment and you'll answer back, and I know it's you, and I love that about you, because it is you, and it's not an assistant who's, you know, doing the things. Like, otherwise I wouldn't know the context of our you know, how we know each other, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I do have an assistant, but
true,
but I do answer everything, and I see everything, and I'm very much highly involved on my account because it's me. You know, I'm not a brand, you know. So that's kind of the difference.
I appreciate that. So I guess this leads me into another question then, is how do you disconnect? Like, how do you find balance there?
That's hard, because I'm still trying to find the balance. Like, I will be honest with you guys, I'm still learning. I think after, you know, I've been kind of full-time for a little over a year now, like full-time officially over a year now. And it's hard not to not be on your phone, you know. I mean, it's hard, you know, now that I have a boyfriend, you know, it's like I have to like think about those things, or even, you know, just trying to find time for like friends and family, and not it be like so social media related all the time. So I'm trying to find that balance. I think having a routine and building a routine is helping me for sure, because I felt like, ooh, I'm quitting my 9-to-5 freedom. Woo! Like, I felt the first, you know, 6 months, I was like, no routine, screw this. No, I don't have to listen to anybody. And now I'm like, I need a routine, because I'm on my phone. I look at my average screen time on my iPhone, and it's like 14, 16 hours. It's crazy amounts. So I'm like, I need to like chill out a little bit, like, with all of this. So I think now I'm leaning towards having a routine and being like, okay, this is my work time. This is my time to edit. You know, I'll have certain editing days. I'll have certain days I'll go out and film, because I think it's important for creators to build a schedule, because you don't want to be like editing and filming every single day or trying to do that. So I try to batch edit. I try to batch film. So I have content for the week or the next week and a half, and then it's just me, you know, editing the content or planning what other places I'm going to go to next, or what other things I want to, you know, put on my platform. So I think that's important. So I've been really much about my schedule, like on what I'm doing, so I have that kind of work-life balance, and it's not so much social media 24/7.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's an ever evolving process, right?
Absolutely.
Finding the work-life balance, especially when you work for yourself. So
Exactly.
Yeah. I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
it's
go
off
for
script,
it.
but when you were talking about the filming and the editing, what's your favorite part?
Ooh, I would have to say it's a little hard, because I do like both processes, but I think I do like the editing better. I think the editing for me is fun, because I'm building it, I'm putting it together myself. Like, I edit all my videos. I don't have someone who edits for me. Like, it's all me. So I take a lot of pride in editing my photos and my videos, and that just makes it fun. I get excited. I'm like, yes, it's done. I'll post it. I'm so excited for people to see it. And
That's cool.
And yeah.
Cool. It's almost it's a different form of merchandising.
It is.
Visual merchandising in a different way.
I know.
And you're good at it.
That's
you. Great.
I
cool.
appreciate it.
With all the changes that happen with the algorithms and the platforms and how it changes all the time, where does it stand with you today in terms of what platform are you leaning more towards? Is there one that you're less? I mean, I kind of have a feeling that I might know the answer, but I'm just curious as to preferences, and where do you see things right now in terms of those platforms that you're active on?
Yeah. So, I mean, I am 100% active everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube. I have a website, a blog. So I'm everywhere. So I know some people think it's crazy, but I am everywhere. I would say for me, TikTok, I had a very, very strong run in 2020, 2021 and 2022 as far as like strong viewership, strong engagement, like video after video popping off, blowing up. And then I felt like I got into 2023 on TikTok, and like midway, I felt like I hit a wall on the platform. Wow. It's been definitely a lot difficult for me to grow on there and for my videos to take off on there. Obviously, there has been a lot of changes on TikTok. You know, there's TikTok Shop. You know, there's the lives that you're seeing. So your For You page is filled with so many different things now. And, you know, and now people are leaning more towards the longer form videos on TikTok, because they just recently announced they're going to, you can upload up to like 30-minute videos on there. Wow. So I definitely see them pushing out longer form videos. So I think as a creator, you have to kind of start adapting to those changes. So I have been playing around with a little bit longer videos on TikTok and on Instagram, and kind of seeing what the engagement's looking like, what the viewership is looking like. But you have to be adaptable. I think if you continuously stay in a box and be like, well, I just like this, it's going to change. It's going to change. And I think a lot of influencers who are very big on Instagram, who are just like, no to Reels, no to TikTok, I'm not going to make videos, those creators ended up kind of falling off and losing relevancy because they refuse to like kind of change with the times and know like, okay, like, yes, this was working for you, but it's probably not going to start working any much longer because the algorithm's going to start favoring Reels. So the creators who jumped onto Reels and did all that saw success. And that was kind of me on Instagram. I was very much photo girly. That's how I started on Instagram. That's how I built my micro following, because during COVID, I had about like 20K followers, and like that was me with all my photo content. And then Reels happened. I was already posting on TikTok, so I pretty much repurposed that content onto Reels, and I grew very fast on Instagram. So eventually my Reels started to like pop off. So right now, Instagram as a whole now is still my strongest platform, just based off of viewership and what that's looking like. But I mean, obviously it always changes, you know. I mean, people are saying Instagram's dying, it's not that relevant, but it's still strong. It's still the strongest platform in my opinion. TikTok, you definitely have to like be ever adapting because there's so many changes happening on there, but it's definitely possible to grow on both for sure.
That's amazing. Now, do you have any, like, do you think what's like the next up and coming, like the one that's gonna like be the new Instagram or just gonna take off? Is there something that you might have some insight to?
I would say because we're seeing TikTok lean towards long form, and I'm sure Instagram will start to follow suit with longer form video. A lot of people are now saying, I mean, YouTube was never dead. Like, you know, YouTube was just, you know, YouTube, your long form videos. You wanted to watch a long vlog, that's where you go. You wanted information on how to do something more thoroughly, YouTube. You wanted a longer review, YouTube. And so I think a lot of people are seeing that's going to be the trend, is more long form content again. People are we're seeing a lot of short form video fatigue. You're scrolling, you're constantly consuming. And what we're seeing on TikTok is the girls doing the longer get ready with me's that are like 3 or 4 minutes. Those are getting views. Those are going viral. People want to sit up, do their makeup, and listen to a creator, or listen to like a 1 or 2 minute like review of a podcast that we're seeing on TikTok, because people are kind of repurposing podcast clips. So we're seeing that. And so we're leaning more towards the long form content. So I do see this resurgence with like YouTube happening for sure, and just longer form video in general, because one takeaway that I've been seeing from other people who are like kind of forecasting what's next on social media, a lot of them are saying, name the last 10 videos that you watched on TikTok and name the creators. You probably don't really remember. You don't remember the creators. I can't remember all 10 videos I watched last and who like produced the creators were. Yeah. But if you listened to maybe a 2 to 3 minute longer video, you probably remembered that creator.
Interesting.
And you probably remembered their account and remembered what that video was about. So they're saying that people, if you're a short form video creator, you're forgetful. Like, people aren't going to remember you, but they're going to remember that creator they listened to that 5-minute long TikTok from. Yeah. And they're probably more inclined to follow that creator. So we're going to see kind of that trend switch over to longer video for sure.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Longer video with less production or more authenticity.
Yeah.
It feels like
I think it's going to be, I agree with that. I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I mean, we all want authenticity. We all want to have something very relatable, but I think we're also seeing more highly, at least I'm seeing a little bit more highly produced videos from creators on TikTok, and even some get ready with me, like with their lighting and what they're doing. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think it's, again, being adaptable and kind of seeing what's working for you and your platform and going from there. But yeah,
it's exciting. I like a long form video.
Yeah,
I do too.
I generally want to learn something.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll put. I like to cook and listen to things. So like I'm cooking, and I'll put like a little 10-minute video on or something, and then I'm halfway through my prep, and then I'll learn something else. And so I like that idea of it's like getting you to stay on the platform longer, but not from like doom scrolling like the 15-second clips or a minute clips the whole time. It's like, oh, you're listening to somebody for a lengthy amount of time, and it keeps you on the platform longer. So
I think the success of podcasts probably helped that too, because most podcasts are more than a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very interesting. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
Straight from
that's what's
straight
happening.
from the source. Yes. How? I guess I know you've lived in Arizona for a long time, and is there anything about Arizona specifically that I guess the landscape or the culture that's influenced your content creation in any way?
I mean, being born and raised here all my life, I honestly, up until I started really creating content, I was wanting to get out. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to live in Arizona, but there's just this pull for me to kind of stay here. And I've always, when it came to my content, especially in the early days, I was just really inspired by going out to like the desert somewhere in Tucson and just setting my tripod up and just taking photos of just the cactus and the beautiful landscape. And I'd be in like a cute little sundress and just kind of just going out and just having fun with the content. So I would say that just a lot of the desert vibes. I really have loved that. And
your roots are here.
Yes, my roots are here. And I would just say that just the growth of Arizona as a whole, especially in Phoenix, seeing how much things have grown and changed in the last 5 to 10 years, and just kind of being inspired by that growth to show people, especially a lot of people who are moving here, that there are things to do in Arizona. Because when I started this page and started really growing, a lot of people would DM me and be like, I just moved here. Thank you so much. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to eat. I didn't know what to do. And your page has really inspired me, to go out and just, experience all what Arizona has to have.
Yeah. There's so much too.
Is.
When you travel, I don't know if you have this experience, but when I travel, especially abroad, and people are like, where are you from? Oh, we're from Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. And like the first thing is, oh, it's hot there, right? Yeah. Oh, yes. What do you guys do out there? Like, that's always like, is there anything out there? Do you have music? Well, yes, we do have quite a lovely food scene. Yeah. We have a great music scene, events. It's popping in here in Arizona. So anyways, I find that interesting.
Just even weather,
perspective.
Like snow and up north.
We have seasons.
We have seasons. Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it sometimes.
I
know. What are any upcoming projects or aspirations that you're excited about?
I definitely want to travel more. I love covering Arizona places, and that's always going to continue because I live here. But I'm excited to just share more travel with my audience and just more of me, more of my personality, just beyond just Arizona places. And I want people to know me as Aiesha and, all the things that I love and do. So I've been on my stories, I tend to be a little bit more personal and, share little things about my life. And, I am kind of branching that onto my feed as well on some posts, so it's not just the Arizona places, I want people to see me for me and, other things like fashion and, just like day in a life type stuff. So
it's important. That's how people connect to you, is getting to know you in that way. Exactly. So I'm glad you're doing more of that.
Thank you.
Now, as a successful influencer, I mean, you are, right? Yeah. What branding and marketing strategies have been most effective for you, would you say?
I would say for myself, I think it's really important to kind of, I'm not going to say you need to totally niche down, but I think it is important to have a core niche for why are people following you. And I think for me, like, I wanted to be, everybody's AZ bestie. Like, I'm your go-to girl if you're trying to find like, a cute date night spot or a cute coffee shop. And even though there are so many more accounts now today, like in Arizona, who are doing a lot of the same things, I think it's important that people see my brand. So even when it comes down to like my Instagram with my little highlight covers and just kind of my opening credit with Arizona places and all my videos, I think that kind of messaging distinguishes me from other people. So people know that's me. They know that's my video. And I think that that's important to kind of really dial down on your personal brand and who you are from all aspects.
Very good advice. Yeah. Yes. And I guess that I'd love to know if you have any advice for up and coming content creators, like any more than, getting specific and dialing in like your type, your branding and everything. Yeah,
I would say for me, if people want to be a content creator, I think the biggest struggle I hear people who want to start creating is, I just don't know how to start. Like, I just don't know what to do. And I know this is a little cliche, but you just have to post. You have to post. Like, a lot of people are just waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect video, the perfect edit, getting their editing nailed down, the perfect time. And it's just, you just gotta hit post. And my very first videos, my beginning videos, none of them were perfect. They weren't. But you evolve as a creator, and you'll kind of see as you continue to do it, what you like, what you don't like, what your editing style is, how you can maybe improve the quality of your videos, what is kind of taking off and seeing like, okay, this video got like 5,000 views. This one only got 200. Okay, like, I think I want to lean into this a little bit more, but you won't know those things unless you start. you have to start, and don't be afraid, because I know it's gotten better, because when I started doing content creation, people were like, you're weird, you're crazy. I mean, even my family was negative. They're just like, Aww. My dad thought I was crazy. Like, he thought I was just nuts. He's like, I can't believe like you're trying to really do this. Like, you don't have any other aspirations. I'm like, now he's like, oh, you're living in a nice high rise in downtown Phoenix. You're doing all these things. Wow.
See?
Like,
See?
Told you.
So I mean, it's gotten better. I think now that we're in this digital, realm and, movement now, I think that there's not a lot of as much negativity about it, but there still is. I think you just have to like silence all the noise, do what makes you happy, post, who cares what other people think, but realize, I know it's hard to not care what other people think, but that comes with the territory. If you're concerned about what your friends or family are going to be thinking about you posting, how are you going to deal with the hundreds of people commenting on your posts that maybe have something to say? Like, you have to break through that. You really, really have to break through that. And and understand, if this is what you want to do, you have to still put in the work. You still have to, come up with, concepts and post and be strategic with it in a sense. And then also for the creators who want this to be a job, because we see the glamour with influencers and they're doing these things, they have nice cars, they're doing all of this. If that's your end goal, then you have to let go of the hobby mindset. Is this a hobby for you, or are you trying to make this a career? Because in the beginning with me, it was like getting off of work. I would go into my visual merchandising job at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., get off of work, go film, post, edit, do all the things, and go to bed at like 11 p.m. So I did my 9 to 5 and did my 5 to 9, which was content creating. And I was hustling for a couple of years before I could make it a full-time thing. But there is a little bit of sacrifice, because again, people are just like, I don't have time. It's like, you need to make time. Your weekends, like, even when I was out with my friends, if I had an opportunity to post or grab content, I would just have my phone and be like, oh, I'm out with my friends at this cute breakfast spot. Let me get some content while I'm here. And so that's just what it was. It just was taking any opportunity I had to create and film content. So that's what I would say to other creators.
Great advice.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
You mentioned from a hobby to a career, and the career being really the influencer. And we love influencers. I completely believe in the model. I know it helps businesses, and yes, there may be this negative connotation for how it's all come about, but it definitely helps businesses.
Absolutely.
Clearly. And we make decisions based on word of mouth and our friends. And when someone tells you, here, I bought this, and they're a friend of yours, you're probably going to listen to them. Absolutely. So my question to you now, with it being a career and more opportunities coming your way, are there opportunities that you don't take? And what do those look like?
Or don't want.
Because I would imagine those come by, right?
Absolutely.
Not to throw anybody under the bus or anything.
Yeah, no names need to be mentioned.
Curious.
No names need to be mentioned, but I would assume that there are people that see what you do, don't necessarily value it, and still want you to come do whatever it is for whatever business it is, and whether or not that business aligns with you personally. You mentioned that early, that you do want it to align with you, but is there any other factors that play into that? Because at some point they may have the money to pay you, and will you do that job?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I mean, I have to say no a lot.
Okay.
Being one of the larger accounts in Arizona that, showcases businesses. I mean, even, I've worked with national brands like Verizon. I did a campaign with them. I've done a campaign with Waymo, and just finished up a campaign with like Hyundai. So I'm working with big brands as well. So it's been really amazing, and I'm very grateful for all those opportunities. But yeah, I mean, I have to say no. I can't be everything to everyone. I mean, as much as I want to share as many places I can, whether it's for free or, I'm being paid, there is like a line that has to be drawn. So I know for myself, I can't do everything for free. It's just impossible. I wouldn't be able to survive as a creator. So I do have to cap out at a certain amount of businesses like per month that I'm willing to, do maybe trade. Like, if it's a place I'm like, wow, they just opened, I really want to go to it. I know they're a smaller business. I mean, I know they probably don't have the budget to pay, but I really think my audience would love this. I will take it on.
Oh, that's great.
But sometimes I can't take on every single business. It's just impossible. I mean, it is only me editing and, doing my content, filming and stuff like that. So, I mean, there are businesses I have to decline. And then there are some businesses that just maybe don't align with just my aesthetic of my page or, what I normally typically film. I think there are some creators out here that have kind of a niche in food, in a certain realm of food that they're super good at, and they kind of stick in that niche, and to throw me into how they do their videos or like the places they go to just probably wouldn't align with what I do, and that's okay. And then, also like, businesses that maybe have a large budget, I've been offered a lot of money for certain things, but it just didn't align with my page, and it just...
Learning to say no, I'm sure has been a good skill set.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have to say no to a lot, and know a lot, and it's hard, even if it's something that I'm like, wow, I could have made a lot of money for this. It just wouldn't make sense for me. I value my audience, and at the end of the day, like, I value them more than working with this brand or money from that brand. I know the right opportunities will fall into place. And, I think the bigger you grow, the more you have to be careful. I think when you're a creator starting out, a lot of times you will take on certain things, like, because you're just trying to get your foot in the door. So it's like, okay, like, maybe this place isn't the greatest, but, I want to start working with restaurants, and so I think a lot of creators starting out, they'll take on a lot of stuff. I see that from a lot of smaller local Arizona creators, because they're really trying to build their page and get their foot in the door. But someone in my status, like a lot of the other accounts that kind of are larger accounts, you just can't do everything anymore. You kind of have this, people are looking at you. People are looking at what you post, what you do, and you have to just be careful what you stand behind. And I know maybe not every creator thinks like that, and some creators don't care. They're just like, if the video goes viral, I don't care. I don't care. They'll have so many negative comments on their video, and they don't care as long as it's viral. So I'm just more careful with that. And I just try to align with stuff that makes sense for me, and that I know I can organically share authentically on my page, and it doesn't feel forced,
Yeah.
Gotta respect that.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure.
So being so Arizona focused, we would love to know what Arizona gem comes to mind that you could share that maybe many of our listeners might not be aware of.
Gotta visit it at least once.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to even think about this earlier. I would say, if I had to pick an Arizona gem to visit, I feel like I have maybe like a couple. I would say, if you're new to Arizona and you want to kind of experience a really fun place, I feel like now they're getting a lot more notoriety. I would definitely say Bisbee, especially if you're newer here. I think we always want to say, go to Sedona, which I love Sedona. I really do. But I always feel like that gets so much
Yes.
spotlight, so much shine. It's beautiful, but I think there's just so much more to Arizona than Sedona. Yeah. So I would say Bisbee is a very fun vibe. I definitely would say visit there. I would say if you want to see any type of beauty in Tucson, they have this beautiful church called San Xavier Mission, perfect for photos.
Wow.
Like, it's super Instagrammable. I know it's been getting a lot more traction with tourism, but I would say definitely visit there.
Cool.
What else?
I'll have to check that one out. There's somewhere down there.
I would say that. Those are
Cool.
No,
I
those are
love
good.
that.
Bisbee's
Those are
great.
great. Yes. Wonderful. We found Butch and I were in downtown Tucson in the El Presidio district, literally around the corner from Circe, that little pasta window pasta shop. Wow. We were there because Plant.Body.Soul will activate Prime Leaf and Timeless at Dusk Music Festival. Ooh. We've done it. We've worked with Prime Leaf now a couple of times in Tucson. And so we found this really cool Airbnb. It's built in a historic grocery store, and I believe it's near the Mission. I feel like I walked. Is it in downtown, the Mission?
Yeah, it's a little bit further outside of downtown, but it's not too far.
Maybe we didn't walk by that because there was some beautiful, like, it looked like Spanish mission architecture, but I come to find out the Airbnb is called The Object. Ooh. And everything inside you can buy, and it's all like antique and vintage and like really cool. I mean, it's such a cool spot.
Amazing.
They have one in Bisbee.
Okay, I'm going to put that on my list because I'm actually, this trip to Tucson is like this weekend, but I'll be going to Tucson again in probably like another month or so, and I'm going to Bisbee in May. So
check it out. The Object. Yeah, they have one in Bisbee and one in Tucson. The one in Tucson, you can literally walk to everything, and it was like a gem. That's my gem I'm dropping in here, but I feel like you would appreciate it. So
how fun.
Cool. Well, I feel like it would be a great time to move into our Plant.Body.Soul questions. These are a series of questions that we ask our guests at random. I think just depending on like how it feels and what's the vibe.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can get pretty open with you.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
I'd love to know the first time I got high on either cannabis or psychedelics, either one.
Yeah. I was 18 and it was cannabis, and I was at it was at some person's after party. I was with this guy I was talking to, and then I had another friend with me, and I don't know what it was, but I got so high, I thought I was seeing stuff. Like,
no. Was that fun or not fun?
It wasn't not fun. It was not fun. And so I was like, yo, I don't think I could do this again. Yeah. And so I didn't really smoke too much in my 20s, but when COVID hit, like my roommate, she would sometimes have like some weed and stuff. And so like I would smoke with her. And so I just started regularly picking that back up like recently in the last like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the recent times have been good. It was just that at the time at 18, I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I hear it feels like that. It was like that for me. It was like, what? I don't like this. Is terrible. I don't know if you had nothing happen, right?
Yeah, I had nothing happen the first time. Second time I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some people like really love their first experiences. So it's interesting to see how yours unfolded. Yeah. And also to hear what your relationship is like now with cannabis and how that's evolved. I think that's really special that you've come back, I guess, and using it intentionally, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, more so intentionally, you know, sometimes I would say most of the times I'm definitely more of like a night smoker. I like it to like relax, unwind before bed sometimes. That's more my vibe. Yeah. I feel like for me, I'm always it just makes me mostly sleepy. I don't know how people people are like, I can do this. I can do that. I was like, it doesn't give me those effects. I don't want to do anything but eat. That's it.
Yeah, the munchies.
The munchies. That's it.
Yeah. That would be a fun Arizona Places episode.
Yeah.
Where do you go for the munchies?
Yeah. So that could be actually good. Take that idea.
Yes. Absolutely. I can't wait to see what happens with that.
Do you have a favorite quintessential cannabis term?
What do you mean?
In terms of what do you call it?
Oh, I just call it weed.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. That's good.
Classic. We've heard some interesting ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like one of our friends and clients, she calls it boof.
Boof. Oh, okay.
Boof, blaze.
Yeah. What was yours?
I call it weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it cannabis.
Yeah. I mean, I call it cannabis in certain circles.
Yeah. When we're more formal, it's cannabis.
It's more formal.
When you're amongst friends, it's weed. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I would love to shift into a wellness or body wellness category. We've talked a little bit about like work-life balance or disconnecting. And, you know, I feel like having some sort of self-care practice or routine really helps with that. Are there any self-care practices or routines, things that you, outside of your work routine, some things that really help you thrive day to day that you can't live without?
Yeah, so I'm all into just the biohacking stuff. I've been like deep diving into all of that. I think it's so cool. So for me, I love just any type of like cold therapy. So whether that's like a cold shower, a cold plunge, or cryotherapy. I would also say love the sauna, love doing all of that for like the detox, and you know, I just feel so good after those. I'm trying to get better with the meditation. I always feel like my boyfriend, he's like so good. He's like very dialed in on his routine like crazy. And I find myself, and I know this is for a lot of people who are like new to meditation or they're learning, I just always find my mind racing, like going. And I feel like I just can't get there.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that and I'm trying to implement that a lot more. I'm also trying to implement less screen time and just turning that into reading.
Good for you.
I'm just chronically online and chronically addicted. It's problematic, but we're working on it.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm trying to read more and just kind of shut down, you know, but it's, you know, it's definitely a learning process, but I definitely would say those are some of the things I love doing. And then just working out and just being active, you know, I try to be active as much as possible, even if it's, you know, getting in a walk or something, you know, just something to move my body.
That's good. That's good. You kind of touched on books there for a moment. You want to ask the book question?
Yeah. Are you reading or listening?
What are you reading?
Yeah. What are you reading?
Yeah. So reading, I have a lot of different books. I've been like, again, I'm not consistent like I should. But I just picked up Project 365. It's kind of like part book about manifestation and then it's a part journaling book. So I've been diving deep into that. And then I've been diving back into how to win friends and influence people. My boyfriend, he actually took my copy and he's like finished it and he's like, we got to reread it together. So I'm going to reread that with him. Also, I love Atomic Habits and the Compound Effect as some go-to books. I always find myself going back to those books because I am trying to get better with my habits. So
good for you. Those are all
awesome.
good choices.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. Well, I don't have any more questions. Do you have any more questions?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I'm so grateful. We are so grateful that we could sit down with you. And if for people that don't know how to find you, where can they find you on your socials?
Yeah, you guys can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Aiesha Beasley, and then my website, aieshabeasley.com.
Sweet.
Yes.
And we'll link everything in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
We're super happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in once again. If you have enjoyed what you've been listening to, please do leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate that support, as well as subscribe from wherever you're listening to, whatever platform you found us on. You can find us on Instagram at Plant.Body.Soul, as well as Facebook and YouTube at Plant.Body.Soul, and Plant.Body.Soul.com. Sign up for our email list and you'll get first drop on events. We've got Friday High Day Happy Hour, After Dark, Friday High Day After Dark coming up again in April, and we'd love to see you there if you're in the Metro Phoenix area. See you next time.
See you next time. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks,
Aiesha.